Hi, Grandpa. Happy 90th birthday. I'm so happy that we're all able to celebrate this amazing milestone with you and really celebrate your incredible life together as a family. So, kind of looking back, one of the first things that obviously comes to mind for me is the fact that, throughout my childhood and even today as an adult, you've always been there for me. You've always been so supportive for any school event, sporting events that I was a part of. You and Grandma always were there, kind of in the audience, cheering me on. And even if you weren't, I always knew that you were there in spirit, kind of, really rooting for me, whatever I was doing. Thinking about your life, Grandpa, I know how much sports has played a role in your life and how much you love sports, both playing and watching them and following them. When you were a young man in New York, I know how much you loved playing basketball, and you could always fondly recall, the games that you were in and the scrappy underdog team from New York, you and your friends going against maybe better talent sometimes, but for you, you loved playing the game. You could still tell me about all your teammates, and it really is something that I love now is playing basketball and sports in general, something that I certainly got from you. But you also really showed, all of us the mathematical side of sports and games, and how there's an analytical and mathematical side to the sports as well, how you can follow it, and it's something that we all really love doing now. Also, especially my brother and I, really follow sports in the statistical way, and you being such a brilliant mathematician really pass that along to us, that there's this numbers element to all different sports that can really be appreciated as well. And that also ties into chess, which is something that I learned the game from you, and you taught all of your grandchildren that how to play chess, and that's really kind of a thinking man's mathematical game as well. Another great story that I always remember, maybe my favorite story of yours, Grandpa, is that you learned how to fly. You flew a plane before you learned how to drive a car, and it's a funny story now, and it's something that you took such great pride in, and I loved hearing it. But it also speaks to kind of the way that you served your country as a young man as well, and it was certainly important for you to do it, and it's something that you are very proud of, I know. But I also know that you've never really gone out of your way to brag about it. It's never been a negative in your life. It was just something that you had to do. You did it like a man. You grew up very young because of that, and and it's a great experience. Overall, it's something that I have such pride of looking back on. And I think that really started your love of travel. You've been a great world traveler in your days with Grandma, and both in the country and the whole world. And I have to think that started at a young age with you, that now you've really seen, all 50 states, and you've seen many countries around the world, and it just adds to kind of the library of information that you carry with you still. And of course, traveling the world with your soulmate Grandma is something that, is just, how can you think of the last, your 90 years without thinking about all the years you have with Grandma, your soulmate, and how lucky you were to find your soulmate from a fairly young age, and just how important that is. And I see you now, Grandpa, still. I'll catch you just looking over and just kind of staring at Grandma and just knowing that how happy she makes you, even when nothing's going on, and you just know how lucky you are to have the love of your life by your side all these years later. And it's something that all of us, really would be lucky to find, anything that could come close to replicating that. And it's something that you really taught us, just the love to have for this person, your soulmate, is such an important part of living a complete life. And it's really, really amazing, and I know just that you feel like you're the luckiest man in the world still to have your soulmate by your side. It also carried on to your whole family, though. You're the patriarch of this really close family, and the love that you and Grandma have has really kind of trickled its way down, and we really are such a close family that you are the head and the patriarch of. And I think that you just set the example and always have for us. And in that large family, we've really started this kind of the thing with the large Cohens, is kind of as we joke about, but it's the love for food, and you certainly started that as well, and it's something that's carried on to your children and their children's children as well, is really coming together as a family and eating and celebrating and loving food. And we always now joke about who can eat the most and who likes to eat the most, but the unquestioned champion has always been you, Grandpa. And nobody would debate that you're always the one that might sneak an extra bite, or might get the leftovers passed down your way. And it's something, as food's become a part of my life, I have to think back and think about how you and your famous Caesar salads and just kind of, family gatherings have all played a part in that. What I do now as my life is your love for food as well. And now, Grandpa, thinking back, I really think of you as this retainer and, and giver of information, that you're just, such a resource, and your knowledge knows no bounds to me. And you've always been so unselfish with giving information. You always want to share these experiences with everybody. And that's just something that's really amazing. And that you always, still to this day, you speak your mind. And when you have an opinion about something, you want to have it voiced. And that's something that always gives me, makes me smile as well, seeing that. And finally, I just think of you, Grandpa, as just a happy person. And that happiness, still to this day, I see you and you'll just be smiling. You have little jokes that you want to sneak in. And you have, maybe if you noticed that I hadn't shaved, you would just give me a little smirk and say, "What's the first thing you did today after you shaved?" And I'll tell you that joke still today, and I know it makes you crack up as well still. So that's something that, your humor and your smile and your happiness is something that really I love as well. So finally, happy birthday, Grandpa. I love you so much. It's just so amazing to have you. I know how lucky I am to have you as part of my life. And I love you. Happy birthday.